So we've got a 24-channel console, and we can send 24 simultaneous signals to tape.
Yep.
Or in this case,
the 24 buses.
From the 24 buses. We've got 24 returns from said tape source.
On the long faders.
On the long faders. But we've got a 32-channel I/O, and that means we can bring 8 of those, the final 8 channels, back into the short faders.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
if we had a bigger system, we could go all the way up to 48.
Yeah, more than that if we wanted to. If you consider that you've got 4 stereo effects returns as well.
Right.
And then you've actually got the group inputs. Okay.
Group's got inputs as well.
Well, you've got insert returns.
Right.
So you could actually just use these as extra inputs on Mixdown as well.
So I make that 64 channels at Mixdown.
Yeah.
Should you be so crazy?
Yeah.
Now, I think, say, this is probably getting towards what I would be looking at for a mix anyway. Keys, I would be probably tempted to submix in the box.
Yep.
Piano, I'd probably keep. My 3 lead vocals, maybe a BV pair.
Yeah.
A cowbell.
Of course, got to have a cowbell.
Never have too much cowbell.
Absolutely. If you're happy with having your sort of 24 channels and Mixdown for your channels, you could use these to be a little bit more creative. Now, one of my favourite buttons on here is basically this copy button, okay? Which basically takes whatever's going on the long fader and copies it to the short fader.
Right.
Okay? And the short fader can also be going via the routing bus. It goes by default via the routing bus.
Right.
So we can start using this to maybe ride a separate mix into the compressors or into outboard, and then bringing that up in the return groups.
So effectively, this becomes a parallel processing bus.
Yeah.
Ooh, now that's interesting.
That's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So you can actually have, you could set up a kit mix, and if the kick's triggering the compressor a little bit too heavy, you can actually set up a separate mix for what's going into the compressor.
Right. Okay. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah. So you could have, the toms in the kit going out paralleled on the short bus and absolutely spanking it through a pair of returns on there.
Okay, so just for a moment, let's pretend. Here's our mix. It's glorious. I mean, it's only 21 channels, which I'm fairly happy with. We've got our kick going through our subgroup. We could mess around with other stuff. I'm not going to at this stage. Now we get to, quite frankly, the interesting stuff.
Yeah,
the new stuff. the HE special edition loveliness bit of things. We've got these 4 buttons down here. Retro and iron, which I think is probably a similar circuit to that's in the 800, the ASP8024 mic pre.
Actually, a lot significantly bigger. It's got a big, chunky pair of Carnhill transformers in there.
Lovely. Low bump and high lift, and these are our mixed tone functions.
Yeah, basically it's an inductor-based EQ, and it's a very gentle lift at the low end, only a couple of dB, but it just gives that kind of tapey feeling. It's like a mastering style EQ. And when you combine that with the top boost, which is now at about 20k, you get your classic smiley face.
Right.
So if you've got your mix going here, you switch in the retro and iron. Subtle, but you heard it, didn't you?
Yeah. I didn't so much hear it, I more felt it.
Yeah,
Something
happens, the glue.
Then we'll hit the low bump.
Yeah.
And we've just picked out the hi-hats and the real simmer of the hi-hats. No, put them back. I like that. Let's bring the keyboards in.
take that out again now
Yeah.
when you're in the middle of playback.
Yeah. I don't want to. I don't want to. I want it back.
You get a mix 90% of the way there.
Yeah.
And that's going to push you over the edge for you. And we haven't started messing with the bus compressor yet.
This is where I want to go next. So in the master section, we've got our buses, our effects returns, our bus master sends, and our bus return. No, yes.
No, they're the sends. They're the aux sends.
The aux send masters.
Yeah. And these look like trims off the actual bus masters for what's going on.
Right,
Yeah.
okay. The foldback section, which we'll look at tomorrow when, quite frankly,
When we're tracking.
I'm worried about being able to hear click tracks and whatever else I'm doing. Control room, it's pretty obvious. We've got different sources we can bring in from other places. It's a standard thing, but it's pretty...
One of the things that's been enhanced with this HE version, on the original console, each set of monitors, the main and the 3 subs, had their own independent volume controls. These are now attenuators to the main control.
Nice, I like that.
So that you can turn everything up and then click between them and they'll all go up and down with the mains.
Sweet.
Which is a great enhancement.
We have our test oscillator and our solo select. I think we're in solo in place,
Yep.
which is fine. Now, where things truly get interesting. The bus compressor.
Cool.
Bus compressors have been called many things. There's a particular one made by another English company that everyone refers to as the Glue.
Very similar.
But I think this is quite spectacular, quite frankly. I'm going to take these out just for a second.
Yeah, please.
Take our mixed tone shaping options out, and I'm going to kick this in, and I'm going to go very gently on it. There's a threshold, lower, higher, makeup gain, release, and attack, and ratio. You have 3 options on ratio: 2-to-1, 4-to-1, and 10-to-1. I think, to me, this is a sort of tickle it type.
One
scenario.
of the things that's got added into the HE is the proper gain reduction meter.
Yeah.
And the designers were very careful to spec the calibration of that, so it actually reads very low.
Right.
So one of the things you'd really want to do, depending on the materials, is really only push into that a couple of dB. You really want to click the tops off a little bit.
We don't want to smack it.
You don't want to smack it. You can, but the meter will go alone enough so you can just bump it a little bit and see things moving.
So here we go. Kick it in. Oh! Wow, really slamming in there.
Stand back a bit.
That's better.
You really want to just tickle it.
Only thing now, I'm just pushing the whole mix too hard, so I need to take the makeup gain back a bit.
Yep. In and out it so you can off your main bus.
It's just pulling the kick drum out.
Yep. Now if you want to do that a little bit more on this one, you probably noticed that we've got a bass expand. Bass expand is basically putting a high pass filter into the side chain.
Right.
Quite high, it's about 300 hertz, but a very gentle roll. It's just letting a little bit more of that low end energy through. You'd obviously have to come back, because as I saw you reaching for the kick drum fader after you've done it.
Yeah. But I'm loving that. And
then we put in.
Oh! The biggest thing I found is that little guitar, that bang, bang, just pops out. Without it, the guitar...
It's that air band on the EQ that just picks it out. It's lovely when you get the vocals, because you get that airy sheen on stuff.
I'm just peaking everything a tiny bit, so I'm just going to bring everything back a tiny bit. It's just because I haven't mixed on the console. So.
No. Well, that's part of the knack, going backwards and forwards between the actual mix and the album.
So you can get into. Oh yeah, 14 is quite tasty. Oh yeah. Yeah, the snare now, as the program is going, it's a bit harder. So something you just don't do with standard pro. You do not touch the master fader. That's the one. So out of practice. Just warms up the bass guitar as well really nicely.
The interesting thing now is to click both that HMX stuff off and the...
So nothing.
I mean, obviously we've got a level.
There's a level mismatch, but I don't care. I'm loving that. That's a lot of fun. So there you go. That's day one, effectively, of me learning how to mix on a console again. And it does feel, it's not a complete relearning of the art,
no,
but it does feel a bit alien to me, which is really weird. I didn't think it would. I didn't think coming back to a console would be such a big deal. But, you've seen how quickly with these things and no mouse in sight, we've actually got a mix. I haven't looked at a screen.
No.
I haven't looked at a screen in what feels like, it's over there, it's a tape machine now.
Yeah.
Maybe some tweaks for an edit or whatever. I'm sure there's a few, if we were to bring in the 3 vocal channels, other than being sued horrifically, and if you haven't worked out what the track is underneath, then we've done okay.
It's a radical version of it.
It's a fairly big departure from the original. But I'm just really looking forward to the next couple of days. We're going to be tracking tomorrow. It's an original song where we've worked out with a client, a friend of the blog, a chap called Rex Strother. And then Friday we'll get to mixing.
And we'll try and borrow a few more bits of outboard to play with.
We'll find some more goodies.
Lots of insert points. It seems a shame not to fill a few of them.
Definitely.
Yeah.
But for now, he's been Bryn from Audient. I've been James from Pro Tools Expert, and we'll see you again soon for some more gear talk.